sponsor, Manscaped.
Uh-huh.
You know, have you tried the new equipment that's been sent?
I'm afraid because it says weed whacker. I'm scared.
Maven, Manscaped. What are you thinking about
Love it.
Manscaped, dude?
Love it.
What do you use it for?
Necessity. What don't I use it for? Put it this way. The only hair I have on my entire body is these eyebrows.
Yeah.
That you see. These caterpillars racing to the middle of my nose. That's it.
That is it.
That's all I have. And that's all I want.
That's the
So Manscaped is a
You-
must.
We were talking before the show. There's nothing worse than just hair.
Yeah.
Right? Hair on a woman, hair on a man. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that the older I get, it starts growing more in unwanted areas.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Just going to go out there.
Oh, boy.
Go for it.
You're doing a deed.
Yes.
Again, I don't want you to have to admit this because we, as men, we try not to admit this. But if you're going to
Oh,
go
I
do the
know
deed
where-
on a
I
woman,
know where
would you
he's
rather
going.
have her be hairless or a little hair, racing stripe, or
Racing stripe.
full retro bush?
Racing stripe.
Retro Bush is out.
Yes, thank you.
Retro Bush is out.
Yeah.
I don't mind a small, well manicured landing strip. Every now and then, if it's completely, and I'm talking like baby's ass bald, then I start. Where is that pedophilia line? I don't want to
Wow.
wander into that.
That's
thought
very
of it like
interesting.
that.
I never thought about that. You're a
Wow.
smart dude. Holy shit.
So if the landing strip is clean enough for the plane to go in smoothly, you're cool with that?
If the landing strip has, like I said, well manicured,
Yeah,
you can see both sides. It's not
Like blinking lights on both sides of that
I
landing?
just don't. I don't want. I don't want the shrubbery going off into unwanted areas on that as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, look
but-
what you found. Ooh.
I got to be all honest though. Hey, the older I get though, I don't think I can be as
I found it! I found
have
it!
you ever gone down there and she slowly brings down the underwear? Then
What is
retro? Just,
Absolutely.
You're like, whoa!
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
like
46.
it pops
of
out?
course.
Do you like walk out or what do you do?
No, I muster through. I muster up the courage to get
He's a
through.
trooper. He's a trooper. Got to give him an A.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah,
There you go.
I hear you.
There you
Listen,
go.
I couldn't
Super
say.
Bush.
I couldn't say. Well, if you have the same beliefs as Maven, does Manscaped could help you?
Absolutely.
The weed whacker.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I may have to, go in a room, close the door, and hang out with the weed whacker for a little while.
Yeah, I think you're a retro guy, aren't you?
I like 70s adult films, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
But
only
with that,
Ron
we're going to take a
Jeremy,
quick
Batman.
commercial break and we'll be
Anyway.
back with this wrestling icon, Maven.
We will see you in a drop kick second.
Drop kick.
I think so. I think, yeah, I do think that when they went on there, I think it was more sensational. It was more sizzle than steak.
Wasn't this all stemming from a class action lawsuit as well? Coming
It
after
was.
that? Yeah. So, I mean,
It was.
I do know, I love Bruno Sammartino. Greatest, I loved him. I was grateful that I was able to see him wrestle before he officially retired after 86 and so forth. I was glad I got that chance. Superstar Billy Graham, the same thing. I think they were very, very outspoken against Vince McMahon because they were not big fans of how the sport turned. It turned into that circus. It turned into that Hollywood Hulk Hogan steroid era where there was no integrity in the sport anymore. And I think that's what a lot of it had to do with it. Did they know more than us? They should. They were in the industry. They were in the locker rooms. They traveled the roads, the same roads that these ring boys and everybody else traveled. Yeah, they should know. Dude, why aren't there sworn affidavits or anything like that back then saying that this happened? I'm upholding the law here. I'm swearing on the Bible and I'm telling the truth and so forth. Why don't we see that type of stuff? But we don't. So I think there might have been some animosity towards Vince McMahon, with Graham. I mean, I think Graham, I remember him being on the Donahue show and he was pointing at Vince and just yelling at him. And Bruno, it was like a gang up attack. And then part of me in the back of my head said, Vince is freaking loving every minute of this because Vince thinks it's really good for the company to get
Vince
this.
is here in the cash register.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Phil Donahue, highest ratings in the afternoon, all these. That's the first time I think I knew who Dave Meltzer was.
How
Because he
does
was here.
someone say that
Vince McMahon, who's all the way up here, and this
Right.
stuff's going way down here, is the
Yeah.
one that should be responsible for it. But the wrestlers who claim they knew this was going on and they
Right.
didn't do anything, how are they not responsible? Isn't there a point where someone should be responsible to have some decent morality? And again, this is not
No,
to
I agree.
disparage Bruno Sammartino or superstar Billy
I
Graham.
think you, Mike.
But you know what? If you're
going
going to play, go ahead.
you got to look
I'm
at the
sorry.
locker room, though. If you want to really do that, who were the active wrestlers at that time when this was all, quote unquote, happening? Allegedly happening, we'll say. Who were the active wrestlers, and why didn't any of them, come forward?
No, you got Mr.
Bruno and Billy Graham, they were already gone. They were gone. They were gone.
That's why I mentioned the animosity towards Vince McMahon.
Right. And do I think they both had personal vendettas against Vince Jr.? Absolutely. Probably against Vince Sr. But I mean, I think we really got to take a hard look. As far as people being directly responsible, who were the wrestlers every 300 nights a year in the locker rooms when this was
you had
supposedly
Mr.
happening?
Perfect, Kurt
That's what
Hennig,
we have
the
to take a
British
look at.
Bulldog. You had all those guys. So
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys.
Jim Duggan.
Can I also give you guys some hard facts?
Sure.
Mel Phillips was born February 8th, 1950.
Okay.
He started in the WWE, call it 1970. All right. I'm not great with dates, okay, but I have a timeline. 22 years to finally get caught. That's a long time.
Yeah.
If that is the case. 22 years, no one caught on to this after 22 years, except for one ring boy. How many ring boys went through the circuit?
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean,
And again, I read that article where they said they wrestled and he pulled my toes.
okay. Could have pulled my finger. What's the difference?
I don't know. And again, I want to make this clear. People are going to go, "Oh, they're defending Mel Phillips." No, we're not.
We're not defending
we're
it. We're
asking questions.
To get to the truth, you got to get the facts. And, if that's part of the truth, then fine. He was pulling his toes, but were they wrestling? Was he over 18? I don't, this is where I'm confused on this, why this is such a major issue now is if these people were of age at the time, yeah, it's crazy behavior. Don't get me wrong, but look at the atmosphere you're in. It's a traveling circus. You're going to get this. I mean, I was just commenting the other day. I remember when Tonga Kid came into the WWF, he was 17 years old. And he was constantly getting kicked out of the locker rooms because he was too damn immature. And he's running around the Boston right after the Boston Garden matches in his island gear, and he overdid his blade job, and he's got gauze wrapped around his head, and he's acting like a lunatic. And it's like you don't hear those stories, but I saw those. I just don't understand why nobody has come forward there's no concrete evidence. If there's this many people involved, where is the evidence that states this really happened on this date? I have it. There's proof. There's affidavits. There's legal documentation. We got nothing. We got he said. This is no different than a barroom conversation.
We're getting off track here, though, I think, because the name of this show is called Unmasking the Devil. And I think we need to concentrate on that. And again, if anybody who watched that show last night, I watched it. I watched the first 70 minutes of it. And I was horrified because in 70 minutes, I heard nothing, not one thing that I could say, you know what, he's got a point there. Not one thing. All I heard was him calling Mike a scumbag, and the things that he said, everything he said was bullshit. Like I'm trying to think of Vincent LaGuardia Gambini. Everything that guy just said is bullshit.
Was he looking at the camera when he was saying this, or was he looking down at the viewership to see every time he called Mike a name?
Yeah, he was counting his viewers, like the sheeples who were kissing his ass. But what did he say? He said nothing, and everything he said. I mean, he tried to, the allegation that Vince McMahon was responsible for Chris Benoit dying. Where do you get that? He said, I mean, he threw it out there, but then he said nothing to even come remotely close to backing it up. And the sad part is, all these people are following this guy, and nobody's even trying to, like the people who did try to rebut him, were like Bruce and I, were either put in time out or ignored.
Yeah, here is some hard. You want to let's unmask the devil.
Sure.
Okay. The Cole family, the sisters, the brothers, they grew up in a broken home. Okay, totally understand. I get that. So easy targets. Lee Cole, okay, took $20,000 from Vince McMahon. Lee Cole and the Cole family went to WrestleMania and sat with Linda McMahon. Tom Cole sat next to Linda McMahon and Miss Elizabeth during that Donahue taping, right? These are facts. Lee Cole went to jail for a substantial amount of time, right? I'm sorry,
What
but
did
if
he
you
go
go
to
to
jail
jail,
for? That's one thing I don't know.
Yeah, what do you go to
you know
jail?
what? I think I know, but I'm not going to dare say it here because then that would be like. But again, when you go to jail, that is a character trait. That's a character problem. In fact, if you have a felony, it's very difficult to get a job when you get out of jail. If anyone doesn't know that, I've never been in jail, but that's what I've heard. Okay. So again, the credibility of Lee is zero. But the hatred for Vince McMahon is very high. So if you go anti-Vince McMahon, you've got a ton of people that are just willing to go aboard. So Lee also said that we never had as many viewers ever until he was on our show. No. In fact, Lee, I'll make it clear. No one knew who you were until you came on our show. I'm not talking this last time. I'm talking the first time. No one knew you. No one cared. We made people care about you. Okay. Right. We made you. And that is a fact. Congratulations. He did great with his mob channel. I'm happy for him. I don't dislike Lee Cole. I want to make that clear. I do not dislike him. Right. But I will say this. Lee showed his true colors when I was bringing Gerard onto the show. He clearly showed his true colors.
Well, he was threatened. He was threatened by it. That's why.
And he threatened me. He actually threatened me.
That's what happens when you get angry. Yeah, I hear you.
Well, there you go. So again, unless you have something to hide, why would you get so? Look, obviously you lost your brother. I understand your anger there. I get it. But you know what? You're building your show around the death and suicide of your brother. And let's not lose these facts. I'm no doctor. But I think when you get brain cancer, I don't think the brain really works that well, right? No. So I think maybe delusions and suicidal thoughts would be a little more rampant in your mind during that time. I'm only speculating. I'm no doctor, but that's what I would think. Is that enough to unmask him, Benny? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, we all have our opinions, of course. And mine, from everything I've heard from this guy, is that he's not a good person, and he's using a tragedy involving his own family to profit. And that's one of the most, I would say, despicable things you could possibly do in life.
Hashtag, are you thy brother's keeper? Is he his brother's keeper? Is he following the Bible? Is he showing his brother in a great light? Now he's bringing it out. Now we're questioning whether his brother's a liar. You see what's happening now? Yeah. Where this man should rest in peace, Tom Cole.
Yeah.
You are now starting to drudge up stuff where people are starting to question whether Tom Cole got angry over losing his job, right? And was a liar. And now maybe Mel Phillips is starting to become the people are writing now. They're second guessing. Maybe I was wrong. This is what you're doing. Are you thy brother's keeper, Lee? No, you are not. You are disparaging your own brother's name at this point. And you may get angry at this statement, but you know it to be true. You are taking your brother for the gain of money. You know what you're doing, and it's a mistake. Again, another lie he told. This podcast cost a lot of money. How much does StreamYard cost, Joe?
Not a lot of money, especially the high def version, which I have. $40 a month. $40 a month for high def. I mean,
so there you go. You go. I don't know what a lot of money is here, man, but and it's not actually greatly produced, unlike the shows that you produce, Joe and Benny, right? It was just like this. This is a basic show right here. Put a time thing, and here we go. There's no pictures. There's no nothing. So again, more lies.
Right.
We're going to invest back into the show. No, you're not. You're going to take the money and do what you want with it. Are you thy brother's keeper, Lee? I'm looking at you in the camera. Are you really thy brother's keeper? No, you're not. You are using your brother. Shame on you, Lee. And again, I like you, Lee. I like you, Lee.
It sounds like his anger is destroying his brother's legacy, if there ever is one. I don't know Lee. I didn't know Tom, but if I had a brother who had passed away by suicide and so forth, I'd want to do something positive in this life to keep his memory alive and that type of stature. You go back to the cancer. If you had brain cancer, you get a little. My first wife passed away of cancer. She was 30. I was 27. And it spread to her brain towards the end, and she was neurologically gone. So I get that aspect of it and so forth, but I'm not going to go on TV and say everything that's wrong with this world. And Vince McMahon killed my wife, or Vince McMahon killed my brother. I mean, the industry is the industry. Just because Vince is the face of the industry, and like you said, Mike, he can't keep tabs on every state, every ring crew, every road agent, and so forth. I mean, he created a huge company. Of course, he can't keep track of all that stuff. I mean, unmasking Lee Cole, the devil. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like his anger is so misdirected that he needs to concentrate more. He needs to look within. He needs to look within himself to see where the anger is coming from. If you want viewership, Lee, talk about the good stuff about your brother. People will listen to that. No one's going to keep gravitating to the same old thing. And if Vince McMahon didn't have this lawsuit going on, would this even be an issue right now?
No,
is it capitalizing on this because of the Vince issue? Was it such a hot topic before January 25th when Janelle Grant filed the 67-page lawsuit against him? I don't think so either. I don't know this guy. I pray for this guy. I hope he does. I hope he can rectify the situation. But it sounds like he's just more interested in, paying a lot for a podcast and getting a lot of viewers from what I get. I don't know.
Again, we all have our opinions, and Joe used the word angry. I don't think the guy's even angry. I think he's a carny. I think he's a gravy trainer. He found something that he can jump on that potentially can make him some money.
He's a ham and egger? He's a ham and egger.
I mean, he's bringing his poor dead brother, God rest his soul, into this. I mean, I'm going to use the word despicable. I think it's horrible.
Don't take it the wrong way, but if you take away his brother in the situation, where's Lee Cole today? You know what I mean? We wouldn't be having this conversation on a Sunday night. So, yeah, his brother, he should use his brother's death or remembrance in a good, positive way and do something good instead of going on a show on a Saturday night. And was this guy drinking? Was he under the influence when this was taking place? We don't know. I don't know. I'm going to have to check this out now.
Like I said,
this rant, 70 minutes of ranting. I mean, that's a long time.
I listened to it very closely, and I was kind of hoping he would say one thing that I would think, I got to check that out. That sounds interesting. That if that's true, man, I got to really, reassess my position. There was nothing remotely close to anything like that.
Yeah, Mike, we've been on the air 47 minutes now, a little under, and you've stated more facts about this situation, the Ring Boy scandal and all that stuff, than this sounds like this guy would ever do on a 70-minute podcast from last night.
I recommend to anybody watching this or any of Lee Cole's fans to go see on our channel his sister, Miss Messina, who speaks very intelligently, very directly. And I will tell you this. Clearly on that interview, she doesn't have a relationship with Lee. She didn't downplay it, like put him down, but she clearly says he lives his life one way, I live my life another.
Are they estranged?
Her point in this interview was, if I don't know if they're estranged because Lee's the one that hooked me up with her, so I don't know. But I will say this. We asked her the same questions we asked Lee. What happened, whatever. All she said was, this goes not on in just in wrestling. It goes on all over the place. And if these people are guilty, they should pay for it. Right. And I will tell you, if Mel Phillips did this, he paid for it. He lost his dream job. He was destitute, and he died a lonely man. So he got he got what he was going to get. Again, back to Jimmy, because it stuck with me. I couldn't even sleep that night. If this was a lie, someone destroyed Mel Phillips' life. Yeah. And it's not forgivable, man.
Either way, lives have destroyed. It sounds like either way. And
either way.
And you try and play that devil's advocate, and it's nearly impossible when you don't have solid facts in documentation and so forth. It's just we're all going on somebody's word, or something was overheard or something said, and we can interview everybody that's in the room and so forth, and you're still going to get a different story every time. It's like that old thing where you tell a secret to one guy, pass it on, the bird is blue on one thing and next down there the hawk is green down the end, and it's like two different things. People just listen to what they want to listen to, and that's the problem with society. That's why there is I don't want to say a legal system, but there are legal documents out there to put those words into a context where it is perfectly understandable on both sides of the aisle that what this person is saying is meant to be the truth. And we don't have that. We just have the hearsay part. That's what kills me.
The guy is an opportunist, again, in my opinion. If the Vince McMahon scandal was not in existence, this guy would be working at Wally's Falafel World, making gyros. He found something he could jump on, and he's riding it to the hilt, and which is if you want to do that, that's fine, but don't bring your own flesh and blood into it. That's where I have a problem.
How long ago did you get the $20,000, Mike? How long ago was that?
I think right at the time this whole Tom Cole scandal was going on. I want to share something that Gerard just sent me. I've heard from multiple ex-WWF employees thanking me for finally telling my side because I was around Mel the most.
There you go.
Again, let me ask you guys this. We're almost out of time, and we got to go watch. There's a whole bunch of stuff to watch. But anyway, what does it say about society that the audience is bloodthirsty for this stuff? Like, at what point do you feel good if Mel Phillips was done wrong or Tom Cole was done wrong? This is not a feel-good story at all, no matter how you slice it or dice it.
Yeah.
And at what point, again, I'll say it, and I'm turning it over to you guys, does someone turn to Lee Cole and say, are you thy brother's keeper? You are putting your brother out there like a friggin' piñata. And as people hit it, the money pours into your pocket. Congratulations. Are you thy brother's keeper?